Hello, and welcome to another episode of Abby the Podcast Lady. Today, we are talking with one of my clients. And Mark, you are actually the first client that I've had on my show, and I've been doing this for about a year now. So I'd say this is long overdue.
Well, I always like to lead the way, so I'm glad to be the first.
You're a natural leader. So I really wanted to have Mark as a guest on the show because we have been working together for about a year and a half now. We met at Podfest, which is a big podcasting conference in Orlando, Florida. And Mark, you had your podcast before we met, but you were just needing help with the production side of things. So let's kind of start there. Talk about what your podcasting journey was like before you brought on a producer.
Well, it was just flying blind. I was just making it up as I went along, Googling how to do things, reading articles here and there, trial and error, and spending a lot of time, a tremendous amount of time to produce, a show that had some good thoughts, I thought, in there, but not a high level of production. And so it was just learning the hard way.
And you know what? A lot of people start that way. I'd say 99% of podcasters start in that boat, just like Googling and trying to figure it out as you go, because that's what we all do when we try new endeavors. We don't always have a budget item for hiring help for this kind of thing. But I always like to say that you got to find the who in your life, not the how. Like there's someone out there who knows a little bit more than you might on a specific thing. And if you can find that right person, it can be a lot of help.
Well, absolutely. I mean, at the time, I was spending hours a week, not only because I didn't know the technical side, but just as somebody that didn't really know, I hadn't found my voice yet, didn't really have a lot of confidence. So I'm doing a lot of editing and second guessing myself. And when you're sitting in a room by yourself recording and then listening back, it's easy to be your own worst critic. And so it was very difficult to get the final product. I was spending hours sometimes just getting the final editing done and not being happy with this or that and trying to redo things. And it was maddening. It was very frustrating. And so, yeah, when I started working with you, it was ridiculously easy. I went from recording one podcast a week to we would do three and have done for the year and a half that we worked together, three in one session to most of my podcasts are about 20 minutes, give or take. And yeah, we were doing them in an hour and a half. We were getting three done. And just it's going from one that I was taking hours to do to spending an hour to hour and a half once a month, basically. It's just a dramatic difference. And so, I've been able to put that time into other things. That's the key to it. It's like, it's not just about the podcast. It's the other things that I'm doing in my business. And so once I had you doing that, I was able to put time into so many other things.
And speaking of those other things, let's just plug a couple of the cool things that you do. So, in the time that we've been working together, you have published a book through Morgan James Publishing and started a nonprofit.
Yes, I have published my first book with Morgan James Publishing, came out in June of 25. I've now finished the draft of my second book, and that is with the editor, and hopefully that will be picked up by Morgan James as well, which will probably come out sometime in 27 if all goes well. So that's in the works. And yeah, I launched a nonprofit. My book is called Learning Love. I teach love and relationships and how to build healthy relationships in every area of life, at home, at work, because we know if we can go to work and love what we do and enjoy what we do and the people we are working with, and we go home to a happy home life, it's a pretty darn good life. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish. And I launched the Learning Love Foundation, where I do workshops, speaking engagements, and we work both with companies, nonprofits to help prevent burnout and develop a healthy work environment, also working with other nonprofits to collaborate, working with families and helping with all of that. And we're going to be, just this week, I'm going to be doing some classes to become certified in child advocacy and be doing some classes to help people recognize child abuse and how to report that. And so really trying to work with every area from child advocacy to home life to work life to help people build healthy, happy lives that I think we all deserve. So yeah, it's been busy.
Yeah. Mark is a busy guy, but he's a really cool guy doing some really cool things and really making a big impact on the world. So let's just throw this out there right now. Just go follow Mark everywhere right now. Just stop listening. Just go follow Mark and then come back to this. But yeah, it's been a real treat to get to work with you on your show because we took it from you editing you're using iMovie, correct? To make
Yes.
the podcast. So
Yes.
we went from that to then instead of you having to sit down and record it yourself into this software that isn't necessarily built for podcasting. What we do is we bring Mark into my Riverside online recording studio because this is what I do for a living. I have all these software subscriptions that are specifically built for podcasting. So once a month, we set up a Riverside recording session and you just patch right in, which is super slick.
It's really easy. Yeah. There's just nothing to it. And I even had your input on what microphone to buy and all the technical side that I'm doing on my end since we are working remotely. But, I'm not doing that alone. When I was doing that by myself, I was kind of guessing at what microphone, what could I afford? What kind of money did I want to put into it? And then, just looking at some online reviews and things like that of what might be a good microphone. But when I was ready to upgrade and invest some more money in it, I just sent you a message and said, what should I buy? And it's that kind of thing that makes it so easy. It's like, I have it set up with you consulting and we're just ready to go.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're listening to this and you've never contacted me before, the best way to break the ice with me is, hey, what kind of microphone should I buy? Because that is my favorite text to get because I'm like, ooh, I know exactly what you need for exactly what you're doing.
And if I sound good now, it's because I have that particular mic.
But even like you didn't sound bad before, but the nice thing about working with a producer and someone who, again, is paying for all these subscriptions and knows all these tricks and tools is I have editing skills, a decade of them, plus hundreds of dollars in subscriptions a month to make you sound as best as you can. My goal is always for my clients to sound as best as they can. I want them in the most professional light. I want them sounding good, looking good, being the authority and being taken seriously with what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's the key to it is the professionalism. I always had things to say, but putting it out there in a way that sounds professional is a big difference. Lots of people have things to say, have things on their mind. But can you get out there and say it in a professional manner? And it's a different skill set very often. If you're working particularly like I am in the fields of psychology and counseling and family dynamics and all of those type of things, that's a different skill set than technology. And it's not that you can't do both. It usually doesn't come naturally. It has to be something that you learn. If you're more of a natural person that works with spirituality or counseling or people kind of skills, it's very different to sit down with software and work with that. It's just a different thing. So like I said, you can do both. It's not that those are completely opposed to one another, but it's just one may become natural and the other one you have to really work at it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And along those same lines comes kind of the social media aspect of it too. Part of your package includes some social media creation. We do a couple of reels or short form vertical videos. We do Pinterest pins, carousel posts, static graphics, all that kind of stuff. What was your approach to that before you met me and what is it now?
Non-existent before. No, I shouldn't say that. I tried to post some things, but yeah, it wasn't very good. I was mostly just putting a post up to link my latest show, on Facebook or something. And there was no real social media strategy at all. Definitely would say that's not my greatest skill set with the social media. And so, yeah, once you started sending me that packet, it's all right there. It's all I have to do is post it. I have my accounts on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn like everyone does, but it's a matter of what am I going to put on there? So yeah, when you get a folder each week and there's just stuff there, it's really easy just to post it. Nothing to it.
You just got to grab it and write the caption. And if you would have said, Abby, can you write the caption for me too? I probably would have just done it because I'm already there. But I have a lot of fun with that. And I think obviously I'm going to say this because this is my job and this is what I do for people, but it just makes more sense to have the person who's already elbows deep in editing the show, making the social media to go hand in hand with it. I already am, as I'm editing, identifying things like, oh, that's a standout moment that would make a great clip, or that is a great pull quote to turn into a graphic, or this is a really great concept to turn into a carousel. Like I'm already in that mindset, so I might as well just be the one doing it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting to me to actually read those and see what stood out to you as the listener and to see people responding to that online. Because as I'm speaking, as I'm writing the show, I'm seeing the whole thing. I'm seeing it from a large viewpoint of the whole package of everything I want to say. But that's not how people listen. People hear the tidbits, that particular moment that really struck them. And so it's great for me to see that and to be able to put that out there and see the people respond to it.
Yeah, and actually, I like to say I'm a digital hoarder, and everything that I make that is configured remotely for Pinterest, I like to put onto my own personal business Pinterest page, just so I have like a place where everything lives, where I can just kind of go and glance and see what I've done for clients in the past. And funny enough, my Mark Hicks stuff does the best on Pinterest. So you get to wear the crown for that one.
I love that.
But I think it's because what you have to say and what people are kind of searching for on Pinterest are really aligned right now. So it's just another like, oh, hey, throw it up there and get some traction. Why not?
Yeah, and it is a way to get that traction of getting the message out there because, in so many of these things, when you write a book or you start a podcast, you can put it online, but it doesn't necessarily go anywhere just because you have something posted. It has to have some flair behind it. It has to have something going on. And, I heard a guy say one time that he wrote a book and he was so glad to finish his book, but then he felt like he was standing in a room by himself saying, "Hey, I wrote a book." And that's how I think a lot of people feel when they're writing, when they're podcasting, when they have a message. It just kind of feels like you're just talking in an empty room by yourself. But once you get that professionalism, you get the social media aspect, you get it out there where it can be consumed in a professional way by listeners and by readers, and you have that professionalism behind you. It makes a huge difference.
It really does. And I also really want to circle back to writing a book and having a podcast that are aligned in the same thing, because this is something that you're not the first client I've been able to help with this. I actually have another podcast client through Morgan James who wrote a book, who has a podcast that's aligned with the book. So let's just touch on that. Like, it's kind of a chicken or the egg. Which came first, the podcast or the book?
Well, I think it can be either one. I don't think there's a formula to that. I think what comes is the idea, the passion, the genre that you want to be in and what you want to say. I think once you have that, then you look for those avenues. And I think it can be the book. In my case, I wrote the book first and self-published it, then started the podcast because no one knew I wrote a book. So I was trying to get out there and try to build an audience. Well, then Morgan James picked up the book, and then I met you at PodFest and took the podcast to a new level. And so I think you just kind of get out there. If you have a message, get out there, do what you can, and then you start meeting people. You learn as you go and you start meeting the people that can help you.
And I might be a little biased, but I really think a podcast is a great way to promote a book coming out, because you own this platform. You're not begging to be on anyone else's thing. Like, you get to essentially do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean it's my show, that's the thing. There's so many times. I mean, I've been a guest on many podcasts, but you're always going to be kind of conforming to what that host wants, what their objectives are. And many good hosts have the idea, well, I want my guests to have a forum. And so they're very good about that. Most of them are, at least the ones I've been on. But when you have your own show, there's literally the sky's the limit. You can talk about whatever you want. You can get your message out there that is designed by you. And when you have people like you that are professionals, they just give you that extra element. I still get to write my own show. I'm doing my own thing, but you take it and run with it and make it professional.
I always like to say I like to have my clients have what the ideal vision of being a podcaster is. Because I think everyone starts their podcast and they're like, I'm going to sit here with a green screen and a cute little microphone and a fun pair of headphones, and I'm just going to talk. And then it's just going to magically happen and it's going to be great. And I want you guys to have that experience. Like, let me handle the hours behind the scenes, making all the content, cutting all the ums and the uhs and the spaces out of it. That's where I really thrive. Like, if I can get into that work zone, I'm just like, this is what I'm meant for. And you guys are meant for the hosting side of it. So I like letting people just kind of operate within their zone of genius.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, when you have a message, if you have something you want to say, it comes pretty natural just to say it. But it is that technical side. It's the editing. It's the, how do we make this sound professional? How do we do the social media? All those things, like I said, are a little different skill set. You can learn them, but it's a different skill set than just sitting down in a microphone and just pouring out from your heart and mind what you want to say to the world.
Yeah, for sure. And something that I really want to touch on is what I think is cool about the two of us is that we have recorded your show from multiple different places, because you do quite a bit of traveling. I do quite a bit of traveling. And what's nice is as long as we have internet connection, we can kind of hook up and do this anywhere.
Yeah, that's all you need. I've been all over the country and we've never missed an appointment, never had any trouble as long as we had internet. So I have my laptop and my microphone. I take it everywhere I go. I have some lighting that's real easy. It's nothing elaborate, but it's pretty portable. So I take those things. I have a screen that I can put up anywhere, which was pretty cheap. I ordered it on Amazon. And so just those basic things, those basic tools, to have something behind you so you're not showing a hotel room or something that you might not want to show off. Have the screen, have a little bit of lighting and a microphone and a laptop, and that's it. And it's not terribly expensive. The laptop, is a little bit pricey, but the lighting and the screen and things that I bought are really pretty cheap and easy to travel. Just I put it in a duffel bag. It's so easy. It's easy to do. You don't have to have a producer in a studio. I know some people do that, and that's great. If you have a professional studio, that can be fun, I'm sure. But with my lifestyle, there was no way that even if I hired a person locally to my hometown, I would be gone so many times. It'd be so hard to get on any kind of schedule. But doing it remotely, we live in different states. It made no difference. If I was on the road, I just, from the hotel room or wherever I was, we would just record. It's really easy.
And it's always kind of fun, like, where's Mark in the world?
Yeah.
But it was really fun too. We did have the privilege of recording a couple episodes in person when we were down at Podfest at the same time. So like you do meet up every now and then with these remote people, and it's like a little reunion. It's really fun. It's a true treat to work with you on this kind of stuff.
Thank you. That was really fun. Yeah, when we were at Podfest and recording live, that was a whole different experience, and it was really really fun. So yeah, I think we kind of have the best of both worlds, meeting up every now and then at these conventions and things like that, and taking that opportunity to record. But you don't have to have that. You can do it on the road.
The magic of the internet. I absolutely
right.
love it. Well, Mark, this has been so great. Thank you so much for carving out time to talk about this. Like I said, it's so much fun. Like I love what you have to say. I love working with you, and I am so excited for everything you have going on. I will be the first one to pre-order that new book when it's available.
Thank you.
And I just think it's great. So to kind of wrap this up, I always ask all my guests, what podcast have you been listening to lately that isn't yours that you've been liking?
Okay. Oh wow. I listened to a few. I am just such a fan in my genre when I work with families, work with mental health. I think Brene Brown is brilliant. And I know she's been out there for a while and said a lot of stuff, and she said a lot of brilliant stuff. And she has just a nice, fun podcast. And I cannot remember the name of it right now. It has left me. I'm racking my
It's okay.
brain. I'm thinking, what is the name of her podcast? I don't remember. But
Search
I
her
listen
name,
to
it'll show up.
But yeah, you put her name in, it'll show up. It's really easy. But I think she's fantastic, and I've learned a lot from her. It's just a fun thing to listen to.
Wonderful. And then tell everyone where they can find you, where they can support the nonprofit, where they can get your book, all the good stuff.
If you go to learninglovefoundation.com, you can find everything. You can find links to purchase my book. You can find the latest episode of the Learning Love podcast and all the services that we're providing through the Learning Love Foundation. So learninglovefoundation.com.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure.